You're tuned in to the HR Bandit podcast, your one-way ticket to the latest and craziest in the world of work. In partnership with Timber Media, Podcaster for India Inc. is sponsored by Adrenaline E-Systems Limited.
Welcome to the Happy Hours podcast from NHRDN. I'm your host for today. My name is Neerja, and joining me is quite the powerhouse. We have the CEO of the International Coaching Federation, who leads the way really for organizations to create a meaningful cultural level impact with their mentoring structures. Magdalena Mook is with us today. Hi, Magdalena. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much for the invitation. My pleasure.
So, as I just mentioned, you are the CEO of the International Coaching Federation. And I have to ask, as we begin, what initially inspired your journey into the field of coaching? And how has your leadership at ICF influenced the global evolution of coaching, especially, in relation to business strategy, HR practices, and workplace culture?
Yeah, the journey is not a very linear one, as you can imagine, because I've been with ICF for almost 20 years. 20 years ago, coaching was not very well known, and my entry into International Coaching Federation was not through being a coach, but rather being an expert in international affairs and also a specialist in association management. Since, of course, I've been not only coached, I've been working with a coach all the time, and also I got coach trained. So I think that my influence and my input into the evolution of the profession and ICF itself is really looking very holistically at the profession. We are currently present in 170 countries, including India, while we started as a very North American organization. I think that the other impact is that we grew our staff, we grew our reach, and we are known as the global standard setting for the organization.
That's quite the journey. And you mentioned the word coaching. Is there a major difference between coaching and mentoring? Just to help us understand really the difference between coaching as a profession and coaching in an organization.
Yeah, so there is a very distinct difference between coaching and mentoring. This is a question that we receive quite a lot and continue receiving, although we try to make those distinctions very specific. So mentoring is working with somebody who's very experienced, who's very well vetted into certain profession or certain skills. It's somebody typically a little older in age and who is sharing their wisdom and their experience with the younger person, only newer to the profession. It is a bit of a relationship between the teacher and the student. In coaching, it is a partnership between the coach and the client. The coach is a specialist in coaching process. However, the client is an expert in their field and in their life. So coach is a catalyst really for an individual or the team to find the best solutions for their issues and the solutions that they're really very much aligned with and vested into because they are their ideas.
I do want to ask, how does coaching contribute to the personal growth of individuals? From an ICF perspective, especially, what short and long-term benefits do organizations experience, when they integrate a coaching culture into their organizational strategy?
There are so many benefits of coaching for the individual and for the organization alike. ICF conducts many research studies, mostly with PricewaterhouseCoopers, but also with Human Capital Institute, that indicate that for the individual professional, they gain a much significantly greater self-awareness, they communicate better, they grow their self-esteem, and they also are more willing and accepting of different opinions and different standpoints within their teams. They are more inclusive and curious. As for the organization, research indicates that the engagement of individual employees is much greater, that their well-being is higher, that they can be retained and attracted in greater numbers, and the business results for the organization are also actually increasing. So many benefits of bringing coaching to an individual and the organization alike.
Right. And when we talk about, on an organizational level, there must be some preparatory actions that people management professionals should take, right? So what are those that they need to immediately take in terms of steps to help develop that coaching mindset, or even to facilitate a coaching culture at workplaces?
It's important to remember that building coaching cultures doesn't happen overnight. It is a process, and is a process that engages pretty much everybody within the organization. We developed an index of a strong coaching culture with the help of a Human Capital Institute, and there are 6 elements of that culture, and they pretty much are the steps that you are asking for. It is a commitment. It is a commitment to continuous coaching process. As we said, it doesn't happen overnight. It is an executive sponsorship, meaning that the top levels of organization are willing and happy to support the initiative. It means that coaching has to be available to people throughout the entire enterprise. There has to be a dedicated budget for coaching. There has to be also a recognition by high-level officials and new to coaching people that coaching is a positive methodology and that is helping. And finally, an important piece is that coaches, either internal or external, need to be well trained and prepared to offer this service, rather than just using the term coach to explain or to describe their services.
Right. So what does then, a robust coaching structure or coaching mechanism look like within an organization? And what are some of the advantages of having such a structure in place?
Well, of course, a lot depends on the size of the organization, but typically your robust coaching structure means that there is probably use of all 3 modalities of coaching, that being utilizing external coaches external to the organization, is building internal coaching capacity through training individuals within the organization to devote part of their job description to coaching, and finally training managers and leaders in utilizing coaching skills in their line jobs. That also, as we said, mean that there is training offered to those individuals, that there is a dedicated budget, and really that there is this commitment to measure the impact of coaching depending on the goals of coaching as established by the organization. Again, what we hear primarily about the benefits is the greater productivity, greater teamwork, better understanding, and if I may use the word, greater loyalty towards the organization that is creating this culture. People like working in organizations when people talk to each other, when people can have disagreements in a respectful manner, and when they are aligned behind the joint and common goal and objective.
That sounds like a very holistic approach. I suppose, Magdalena, coaching is required for coaching itself, right? In a sense. On the flip side, though, from your experience, what are some of the biggest challenges when organizations lack a coaching mindset or, a structure at the workplace?
Especially nowadays when younger generations are coming to workforce, we are observing their desire, if not demand, for very different type of leadership. That's the leadership that is inclusive, curious, accommodating, inviting, transparent, and authentic. So in absence of those elements, the organization may have difficulty recruiting and retaining their employees. They may suffer from very low engagement of their employees, and ultimately that translates it into lesser financial or business results results and the atmosphere in a workplace, which could even be characterized as toxic or not conducive to good work. So it is a business decision to include and invite coaching to the organization.
Yeah. Is there a real life success story of, let's say, a global organization that transformed their business and work culture through professional coaching? Could you share one with us?
Oh, there are a million of them. Fortunately, more and more organizations are utilizing coaching. But let me bring one. ICF does have an awards program. It's called Coaching Impact Awards, where you actually can find quite a lot of great case studies on our website, coachingfederation.org. But the one that comes to mind is especially in light of recent pandemic, there was a major coaching program introduced in one of the major US-based clinics, Cleveland Clinic, one of the best known medical institution in the United States. They had terrible time trying to retain nurses and doctors alike. It took them so much time and money and effort to recruit new ones, to train them, and to have them ready for work. With the utilization of coaching, they changed that culture completely on a dime, and within 1 year, they saved $80 million simply by not having a turnover in their medical personnel. So, money is great, but what's great there is that the patients received care from well-adjusted, happy, and well-prepared professionals within the clinic.
Yeah, it's important to identify that result, right? And looking ahead to 2025 and beyond, what do you see as the most significant trends in coaching that will shape the future of organizational development?
I think that what we are facing, no matter what sector, no matter what industry, is the advent of technology and especially artificial intelligence. AI is changing coaching also very dramatically, from the way coaching is delivered to the way coaching is being taught and evaluated. So we are doing a lot of work in this field to see how to best prepare our coaches to work hand in hand with AI. We think AI is good for coaching, and how our coaches can work with their clients so they see the benefits of introduction of technology and AI. And the second biggest trend I think that we're observing right now is it's bringing together coaching and mental health profession for what we call well-being. So coaching is never gonna pretend that it is qualified for stepping into a space of medical profession. However, coaching can significantly support medical profession in retaining and maintaining well-being, and can do wonders, especially in organizational settings where medical interventions are not needed, but some kind of support is absolutely necessary.
An excellent note to end this podcast on. Magdalena Nowicka Mook, everybody, the CEO of the International Coaching Federation. Thank you so much for bringing your expertise to the conversation today, Magdalena, and giving us plenty to think about and carry forward with us.
Well, thank you again for the invitation. It was a pleasure.
You're tuned in to the HR Bandit podcast, your one-way ticket to the latest and craziest in the world of work. In partnership with Timber Media, podcaster for India Inc. is sponsored by Adrenaline E-Systems Limited.